Deme D, man. Hip hop was good, man. You already know this is the DagogetaTv. This is another episode of On Deck with Deme. I'm your host, Deme D, Mr. Everywhere. You never there. And you know this is where we highlight to all the MCs who've been putting in work, especially from the Tri-State, even though we welcome everybody. And today, I got a special guest, man, my guy, Rasheed Chappell. What's good?
Yeah, I'm Leonardo da Vinci, painted your God's image, pushed the moon roof back, watch the stars glisten, we're sewn from the same fabric, I mean every stitch, nigga who I be, tired of all this crown talk, but I'll entertain the circus, let you clowns talk, Queens, New York, late night, turn hard on a kitchen stove, you can smell the fumes, if you listen close, fallen idols, we remember when the liquor pours, world of Instagram, now they holding their breath, niggas seldom show love, but they show me respect, I did it on my own, nobody showed me the steps, but niggas paid attention when they saw me with Spesh, yo.
Oh my God.
Deme D, how you?
By way of New Jersey today, holding it down.
Facts.
No doubt, man. So first I want to start off, I like to start off from the rip, man. What does hip hop mean to you?
Everything from how I dress to how I eat to, you know, the type of books I read. Everything. Hip hop is definitely the culture.
No doubt. I like to hear that, man. And it shows in your music, and I hope that people get to see that in this interview. But so let's start with like I said, you represent New Jersey, man. Where exactly you from? And you born and raised in Jersey?
Born and raised, Project City 07055, Passaic, New Jersey. You know, born and raised in Passaic.
Okay, shout out to Passaic. Yo, shout out to my Brick City niggas. 7th Ave, Stick and Stab. You already know how it go, man.
The whole NJ, what up?
Yeah, the whole NJ, man. So what my, it's a cliche question, but I am curious, what made you go with the straightforward the name as far as your artist name?
I had a management previously that they used to actually manage Black Eyed Peas. And I had a terrible rap name before. I don't even want to say it. But I went with Rasheed. And it was like, nah, you really need to just go with your whole name. Like, just because your music is you. There's no, like, filter between my music and myself. So that's why I went with that.
Okay, that's true. And I guess it was, I'm not going to say I guess, I think it was definitely a good choice. Because now you saying that, and I'm thinking about the projects I'm familiar with you. It is kind of like, it is you. It doesn't feel like, not to say that having a name doesn't mean you can't still present some authenticity. But true. I feel like that was a good pick. And so speaking of that, right now you have 15 Minutes in Queens out right now. Mm-hmm. How do we get to that title, being that...
Yeah, from Jersey.
Yeah.
I actually recorded it in Queens. I recorded it with my man Rec Real out in Queens. And it literally, the EP play is 15 minutes long.
I figured that
yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, so that's how we came up with it. And it's just like 5 quick moments in Queens of... You know, that's how we got there.
Oh, so it's conceptual. I kind of got to, okay, all right.
Okay.
So yeah, now that kind of threw me off
Yeah.
So, first of all, what part of Queens do you usually record at? I want to shout out, you know, we got to shout out the Queens fam.
Well, he actually just moved to LI, so he was on, I guess like 201st Street in Flushing.
Okay, yeah. Flushing, this is just shout out to Flushing. So, the 15 minutes, that's what I wanted to ask. Was that coincidence, or you went into it actually being the length of that time frame? I'm saying.
I was just coming off of a project that I did with Buckwild.
We're gonna get to that too.
And it just sonically, you know, I was actually recording a bunch of features. Like I do all my recording pretty much with Rhett, and he had been sending me beats, and I was like, damn, I feel bad coming over here recording other people's stuff. Let me hop on one of these records. And when we did the first record, I was like, okay, this is something. And then we did it.
Which one was that?
The first record I think we did was Walk Amongst the Gods, which was like the first record on the EP. I forget which song we did second, but when we recorded the second one that night, I was like, okay, this is gonna be like a short little EP. And by the time we got to the third one, I was like, let's just try to make this like 15 minutes long, and then that's how that happened.
Okay, so you went in with that. I kind of got. Let me know what you think. I did get like a vibe, more of a vibe, feeling more of a talking more than on your previous projects. Agreed. I feel like, I felt like you kind of spit went a little harder with this one. I felt it was like, I guess it was conceptual and put together. So, with all due respect, man, I want to get into that, man. Okay. Did someone make you angry on that day you went there, or just because that one is straight to the point as far as besides the other tracks, that one is a little more direct right there.
We live? niggas don't deserve none. Yeah, I'm on one, second win, third run. Yo, Hill, go ahead and burn some. And put the stink in the air. Promise my
I listen for, when I'm doing a project, for what's missing, right? So after that might have been the second record we did, because I remember after coming off Walk Amongst the Gods, I wanted to do something a little bit harder. So when he was going through his tracks, he gave me that record. And, you know, there's a lot of people in our genre that claim that they're doing it for the culture. They claim that they're, you know, they're self-proclaimed GOATs. They're self-proclaimed the best that's doing it. And my whole thing is like, I like the music to speak for itself. Like, I'm not with all the extra shit. Like, that's like when we met that day for the first time. Like, I come dolo. I don't like all the, like, just let the music speak. You know. So that's what that song was pretty much about.
And I like shit like that, you know, being a fan, because I like when people speak on that. Like you said, there is a lot of yap about that kind of shit.
Yeah, man.
So the other track though, man, I felt like it was intense, but it was like the right amount. I think, what is it, my beautiful
Art Torture Soul, yeah.
Yeah, man, you laid down on that one, man. How did you get prepared for that one? Because you got a lot of info on there. I feel like you you know, you're definitely revealing a lot that's going on and what's on your mind frame with that one.
I mean, I don't lie to the music, you know what I mean? And that's that, like, being Rasheed Chappell, the artist, and Rasheed Chappell, the man, I can't lie to myself, so I don't cheat the music. So it was a moment, and it was just, we were sitting there, and the track came on, and I listened for the words. It almost like the beat was telling me what to write, and so it was like, okay, like, talk, right? This is real.
It did coincide. I did like how you meshed that. Like, so it does show that, you, like you said, the beat was speaking too. I feel like it meshed. With Seance as well, though, man. I like how did you make that? How did you come to that one being the last one? Because I felt like that was a closeout, right?
It felt like it,
right?
I felt like so that's what it felt like.
Yeah, I couldn't skip over that one right there, man.
It felt like that. It just felt like, you know, it felt like, yeah, this is it. Like, you know, like being in Coachella, you know, Coachella Valley, and you driving and you just watching the windmills, and you kind of pull over and you're like, how the fuck did I get here, bro? Like, I'm from the projects. Like, I'm from apartment 6H. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing out here? So it was just a moment of, like, reflection. Even the other song, Reflections, on the project. Like,
yeah, overall, now that you're saying it was conceptual, you know, I got the picture now. It felt that way. So
appreciate it.
Nah, salute to you, man. You know, if you ain't in tune to that, 15 minutes in Queens, man, get in tune. So I want to double back, man, and get into you growing up in Jersey, man. What was hip hop for you, and who were some of the people that kind of drew you into the culture?
I mean, you know, my dad did a lot of ripping and running over here in New York, so my influences really come from my uncles, my older cousins, the stuff that I didn't even know was hip hop at the time coming to New York. I didn't know that graffiti was hip hop.
Okay.
I didn't know that breakdancing was necessarily hip hop. I didn't know the style of dress was hip hop. It was just what the culture was.
It was the lifestyle.
Right? I'm into the lifestyle more so than the music, you know. And so when we got to, you know, the music part, of course, you know, being little, hearing the Run DMCs and the Rakims and the Big Daddy Kanes and all that stuff, all that was influenced. But then when I got to an age where, like, okay, now I'm picking my own music, you know, it was the Illmatics, it was the Infamous, it was the Purple Tape, it was the Roots, Do You Want More? So that was how I consumed it that way. And everything that came on Video Music Box, like everything.
That was the go-to at the time too, because it wasn't like there was nothing before that. I mean, you had Fab Five, but he didn't have like a channel, and it was just. You had, you know, Ralph was doing his thing.
He's our uncle for real. Yeah, like, he kept a lot of us out of trouble,
at
least for an hour.
Yeah, Ralph was doing his thing, but when that Video Music Box.
That's a fact.
But so who would you say, or at what moment did you? Because since you have so many influences, were any of them doing music, like your uncles or your family members?
My one uncle had a record deal prior to us even. Because we all started, all of the cousins kind of started at the same time. I'm the only one that kept going. But, like, he kind of, like, he gave me, like, a piece of information I thought was, like, so invaluable at the time. I thought it was kind of crazy. He was like, yo, you're writing all these records about yourself. I want you to write a rhyme where you don't say I, me, my. So it kind of made me now tap into other parts of things that I've seen, storytelling. Like how do I make this dope without talking about myself? So he gave me that when we were probably about maybe 16. He was like, yo, try this. And then it was like, dope. Okay. But he was doing music, but there was people around me, like people, there was a group that got a record deal. They actually one of them grew up in my grandmother's building. They were signed to Warner Brothers, World Renown. We used to see Marley Marl in Passaic all the time because K-Def is from Passaic. So
shout out to K-Def too, man. For real.
Yes.
Shout out to K-Def. We did the youngster shit. I just want to shout him out real quick.
Yeah.
Did the youngster shit. Working on the Marley, sometimes you get a little overshadowing.
Yeah. He definitely did the Laws of the Underground shit.
Underground,
the K-Def and Larry O. So we David Cole from CNC Music Factory is from Passaic.
Yeah.
So he came to my high school before he passed away to our music class and dropped a little bit of info like always take care of yourself because I was fairly popular, so like people were trying to get to him and I was giving him their paper to sign. Okay. And he was like, I didn't get an autograph that day. And he was like, yo, like, why you didn't get one? I'm like, nah, I just want to make sure they get one. He was like, always take care of yourself first. Make sure you take care of yourself first. So
I mean, sometimes when you have that kind spirit, man, but it may sound harsh, but it's real, man. I really had to tune into that. Like,
nobody gonna look out for you like you.
So I had to you got to tune into that. But I want to double back real quick. Mm-hmm. What I did want to ask was, how do you feel about? I don't know if you said someone quoted it or someone told you could be either happy or great.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you really had me thinking about that, and I'm like, I don't see it as realistic. Like, I do think it's a fairly a choice. I think.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of people after I said that was like, yo, like, do you really feel that way? Like people in my personal life, and I'm like, yeah, because the things that it costs to be great, the people that love you, they have to be sacrificed.
They have to be sacrificed.
And it's unfortunate because like this requires me not being where you want me to be when you want me to be. This is a real, as an independent artist, like this is a truly 24/7 grind. I have no 9 to 5. Like this is what I do. This is a 24/7 job, and it's like, it just requires so much of your time. You have to wear so many hats, and so at least you get a team around you. But like, to be great, you think Michael Jordan, he wasn't at his kids' baseball games, and Floyd Mayweather had to miss out on so much of of just growing up.
Just
Michael Jackson had to literally give up his entire childhood to become Michael Jackson. So you can be good. You could be good, and some people are satisfied with that ceiling, but to truly be great,
you're not gonna be great.
Nah, you can't. How can you?
Because even if you like you capture some of those moments to be great, you just have to intensify what we just said. That's, you have to put you first. You have to put the vision and goal first.
It's so crazy. I was having a conversation driving here, like it's even bigger than me, right? So it's not even about when you find what you believe your purpose is, right? It's not even about me anymore, right? So it's not about what I want to do. I want to sleep.
You're no longer in charge.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not. It doesn't even look the way that you thought it would look like when you thought, okay, this is what greatness looks like, right? So you see Jordan drop the 56 points, but it's like, okay, then immediately after that, I'm gonna get in this ice bath, and then I'm gonna go to the gym before we get on the plane to go to the, you know what I mean?
More shots.
Yeah, like, so it doesn't look like what you think. Like the success of an album or the release of an album, like for what the fan sees, it's not what we see. Right. It's a total different, like, absolutely. Okay, I'm still in grind mode though. Like
still in grind mode.
Yeah, so
I do want to say though, I guess a lot of people, someone had to check me the other day. This is for everybody, all of us. You just take those minutes though to appreciate the temporary win or in the moment win. Because like you said, we tend to be like, all right, yeah, that's cool. All right, so now I gotta blah 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 blah. You already to the next thing. But I hope the fans understand that too, because that's part of the reason why I like to have these kind of interviews too, for artists such as yourself as well, which is a good segue. When you decided though, man, after all them gems, because you got a lot of gems, man, before you even started, so
thank you.
You're already approaching it differently. What was the first step, or when you decided like, okay, now this is my mission right now?
I think I've always known. It was just like I feel like you can't outrun your destiny. You're gonna have to meet it. Like you're gonna have to. It's gonna keep showing up, right? It's gonna keep presenting itself time and time again. Now you can try to fight it, but it only prolongs the pain. They say, right? So you just face it, and it just came to a point where. And people would think I was crazy. Like I worked in corporate America. I was making six figures. I was doing, like I had a job that people would be like, yo, like they die at this job.
Yeah, they cool.
Like, yeah. And I'm talking like 23 years old. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I wasn't fulfilled. Like I'm taking 2 vacations a year. I'm in and out the country. I'm doing all this prior to music. And I'm like, yo, this is not what I want to do though. Like this doesn't, it like, when I say that it's better than pussy, when I try to explain to people that it's better than, I'm a sneaker head, right?
Okay.
And it's better than getting an early release. Like it just nothing. I'm a father. I'm a parent, right? And it's I love my children, but nothing feels like creating something, pulling something out of the ether. Like there's nothing that feels like that. It's indescribable. You can talk to another creative, whether they paint, whether they're like if you and it's so deep because I watch people that lay bricks, and there's an art to that.
There is.
And you see the grace and like it's graceful. They're laying fucking bricks.
That's why everyone can't do that job.
Yeah, man.
There's definitely an art to that.
And I'm tapped into that creative side, and it's just like there's nothing else I feel like I could have done.
Nah, I respect that, man. Especially like you said, when you see things visualized, and so when you at this point, are you connected in it as far as like, on the scene as far as like doing shows or producers, or now you got to get in tune with that as far as just starting your grind?
I mean, I've been blessed to work with some of some legends, Buckwild.
No, I mean prior though, in your starting when
I first started. I mean, you gotta. I had to leave. I had to actually leave Passaic. It's a very small city.
Okay, that's a good point.
Like one middle school, one high school. Everybody knows each other. K-Def was the big fish, but I held no weight for K-Def to want to work with somebody like me. You know what I mean? So I had to go out into the world and find other producers and come back and show, look, I've done this. Okay. You know what I mean? So it was like a super dope experience though, because like they always love you at home last, right? So I had to.
Can you repeat that though?
Oh yeah, always like there's a song by Gil Scott-Heron, "Home Is Where the Hatred Is," and he talks about that, right? So the place where you think that the love should come from, it very seldom comes from there first. Like they have to see other people put you on a pedestal before they start applauding you.
Yeah, I'm starting to. Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah. Because they know little Rasheed or they know Sheed, but they really don't know. But just to see that we came from the same place and he's doing this, like it's very weird. It's very weird the way the shit works. But
part of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of life, right? Yeah. So once I went out and I started working with different producers and started like doing some independent shit, like it opened up the doors to me meeting a Kenny Dope and me Lord Finesse and Buck and Spesh and all these other people. So that's how that worked.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna get to that too. So before we get to that though, what was what was the hardest part as far as the process, or most surprising part that you had to kind of like overcome, maybe that you weren't really ready for, just not knowledgeable about, as far as starting the recording or linking with people, or just maybe having the funds for it, or having to travel, or just how it's nonstop? Like,
I mean, there was not like, I don't think there was any part that was like really surprising, other than maybe the level of politics, right? But I knew that going in. But the level to which it exists, where we're not in an industry where it's simply let the music speak for itself, right? We don't. It's not just let the product speak. So learning how to navigate that, how to be personable without being personal, and just kind of like navigate that area. That was like okay. and that was able for me to take the experience I learned in the corporate world and kind of use it on this side.
I mean, cause it's kind of if you can navigate that and
it's the same shit,
and it's a little more leniency on this side at least. So
absolutely,
you know, a little more
absolutely
uptight on the corporate side.
Yeah.
So with that being said, now that you like you're saying who I want to know like if you could recall who were some of the people that were out as well, maybe like on you like your peers or maybe on the ones coming up to while you're starting
when I started out.
Yeah, like when you start really like building some steam, I'll say too.
I mean, I wanted to record with everybody. You know, I wanted to record with Naughty by Nature. You know, they were from Jersey, definitely Redman.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I was looking at like things that I thought were in my proximity. Like one of the first people, one of the first people that took an interest in me that was a real producer. His name was Rashad Muhammad. And he produced on the Fugees' first album. He did Nappy Heads, and then Salam did the remix. So once I started working with him, I was trying to get, you know, Lauren on a record, you know, back then. So
why not?
Hell yeah.
Nah, that's dope. And then so we're gonna go to, like you mentioned, you got the whole project with Buckwild, Sinners and Saints.
Yes.
I mean, how did that? You know, I need to know how did that come about. First of all, before it came about, were you in the thought process of trying to find somebody to produce a whole album with? Or
I've only done albums with one producer. I've never done a project that's a song from here, a song from here. I've always locked in with just one person.
Okay, so before we get to the Buckwild, then, so what would you say is the project that kind of elevated you? Because the first thing I'm familiar with is My First Break. That's kind of where I caught up with you. What would you say is the first project that kind of like put you in the mentioning?
It was the first album, Future Before Nostalgia, which came out in 2011. That was the first project that, you know, got all the attention. It was on all the list of albums of the year and everything like that. So it was definitely that project.
And so going into that, I know how sometimes you're just going in, but going into recording that, were there expectations or were there like was there a different approach to making that one?
Yeah, it was a different approach because I kind of relied heavily on, for those that don't know, Kenny Dope is a fucking Grammy nominated producer. He
did that whole
and he produced for everyone from fucking Michael Jackson to Madonna, like you know what I mean. So, but I relied heavily on his vision, right? So when I listened to the album, it's almost like a collab album. It's almost like he had the ideas for certain records, and I kind of just filled in the canvas. But I learned a lot and how to produce a record, because that's what people don't know is that I produce as well.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so like I learned how to put it and not make a beat, but put a record together. How to bring in different.
That's a big deal. I need you to repeat that one more time.
Yeah.
For the audience.
Yeah, it's not how to make. I can't make a beat. I don't know how. But once the tracks is laid, I know what to listen for. I always listen for what's missing, right? And sometimes silence is missing. Sometimes you need to take an instrument out.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to know what your listen, the mood, the what is it you're trying to evoke in the listener. So that project, I learned a lot. By the time we got to First Brick, which is the album that you became familiar with, I had been working with I had been in so many studios around so many different people by that time that project was a little bit more mine. It was more like we had some records that were supposed to be on another project. I took those records. I had recorded some other songs that then Kenny made beats around, and it was just a whole different vibe for that particular project.
And he did that one as well.
Yeah, he produced that one as well.
No, I don't know how I came across it.
Oh, it was fire. That's how.
No, I was gonna say. I don't know about this guy. Like, I don't understand. So that's what kind of made me. That's where I kind of made me tune in, and then get familiar with your music. So then we're back to the Buckwild. So okay, what made you venture out from Kenny?
We don't have enough tape, but
no,
it was just we just kind of grew differently. Like Kenny is he comes from a different era, and the way that he goes about doing things, it just didn't coincide to where I wanted my career to go. Like from my first album to my second album, there's a 7-year gap.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that. Yeah,
you know, and I remember being in the studio one day and someone, Parks, actually said to me, it's like, yo, could I ask you a question? Like, what happened? I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, there's no way that you can crank out records the way that you're cranking them out. And it took 7 years, like, for in between albums. But, you know, we toured. We toured. Okay. We did Europe twice, Japan. We did a couple different spots. And it was just like, you know, I wanted to put out, we're not in the era anymore where we can wait. You know, yeah. I'm a quality over quantity guy.
I know I could.
But you have to.
You gotta feed them.
You have to.
The appetite is crazy now.
Yeah, I have to.
So I mean, but I mean, so since then though, you know, I still like your style. How you doing it though? You're not oversaturating, but you know, you're keeping it yearly, right?
Yeah.
Once or twice a yearly, you're keeping it out there. So then we get to Buckwild. I mean, yeah. How did you connect with him? How did you know that was the? Not how did you know? When it connected, what was the thoughts? Like, all right, yeah, we doing this. Oh.
You know, it was. I've known Buck for years.
Okay.
And like, I've been trying to get Buck in the studio for years.
Okay.
For years.
Cause I know it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Cause I'm like, I know it ain't just a snap.
And so, we were at a party. One night we were at a party and the business manager for Digging in the Crates, me and him are talking. Buck comes up and we just start talking. I'm like, yo, Buck, like, when we gonna work, man? Like, let's work. He's like, I got you. So he was working on a project called Fully Loaded, and he sent me a record, and I wrote and recorded the record like maybe in 2 days and sent it back to him. And he was like, oh, that's dope. Like, yeah, like, I appreciate you getting it back to me so quickly. And so we moving around, me and Buck riding around, and he's playing me beats that he has, like I'm gonna send this out to such and such. I'm like, yo, that's fire. Like, that's fire too. And so, like, I'm just kind of like freestyling in the car. He was like, oh, like, you like these? I'm like, yeah, this is fire. So he's like, I will put something together for you. So I'm literally in the middle, 5 songs in of another project. I'm 5 songs in. Buck sends me email with the beats. I'm like, yo, like, let me finish this, and then I'll get right with you.
Now it's on.
But I downloaded it to my phone, and you know, like, when you plug your phone in, it's the first thing that pops up, or whatever the last thing is. So I'm riding, and the shit comes on, the beats, and I'm like, why the fuck? Okay. Like, now I'm hearing the song. Now I got to make a song. So I'm like, all right, Buck, we're going to go lay down this one record. I got an idea for this one record, and then when I'm finished with the other project, we're going to get to it. So we laid down the first record. As we're driving home, I'm like, fuck, I got an idea for another record.
This is all in the same time
frame.
Yeah.
As I'm leaving the studio that night, get home, and I listen to the beats again, and I write 2 more records. I'm like, yo, Buck, let's just go in tomorrow, and we lay down 2 more records. And it was like, that's how, and the other project I put on hold, and we did that.
Listen, you gotta take advantage of the moments. So, but what I want to say, like we touched on, you know, throughout all of the bullshit and you know the whack shit that goes out through the game, how dope is that though?
Yeah.
Seeing them went to a party and they say, yo man, come on man. You know I've been trying to damn, and y'all just
There's some dope shit that happens, man.
Yo, that's what I'm saying throughout the
it's some dope shit.
A lot of dope shit, and I feel like, you know, well, like you said, when the energies connect.
I mean, this is like, but this is dope shit. Like, y'all heard your album in 2018, and now it's 2021. And we getting a chance to sit down and connect. Like,
I was telling him that. Now I was telling him that is dope.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, I definitely
you know what I mean?
appreciate
So that's
that.
real.
But yeah, I just want to see the tri-state, man. You know, represent New York all day, but Jersey, that's what, like
6 borough.
That's right there. You know what I mean? I spent mad time in the breaks. I just want to see our artists shine as well, man. Especially guys like yourself that are just like, I know people don't like to hear that shit, but fuck that. True to the culture. You know what I'm saying? Authentic. And so I want to get to the I don't know. You want to jump to the Spesh? Let's jump to the Spesh project.
Okay.
Because a lot of people still catching on to him as a producer.
Okay.
Yeah, like I started with First Break, and so then I started seeing like I started doing the streaming stuff. So you know how your song pops up, and nowadays they put everybody's name in.
Yeah.
Right?
Also likes.
They put everybody. So I seen 2 songs, and I'm like, I'm waiting for Spesh to spit. I'm like, okay, but they don't put produce. They just put the names on like like Spotify and all that shit.
Got you.
So I'm like, okay, and then the third time I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, he did your whole joint. So I was one of those people, and there's other people. So I mean, his shit is sick though. Was that also something that planned, or just came about as well?
You know,
Squeeze triggers, we feed niggas like IVs, like IDs. We read niggas who pose real. Stand still, we breathe out. The sparks fly, separating bodies from souls like a.
it's so wild. Like Spesh,
the name of the project too.
Ways and Means.
Waves and Means right now.
Ways and Means.
Yeah.
We I have a project that will be coming out later, and I asked Spesh for a verse, and so Spesh sent the verse back, no problem, boom. And this is before we like even really knew each other, and he had made a tweet one day. He was like, "Yo, I'm producing I want to produce somebody's album. Who y'all think it should be?" And I was like, "Me." And so he replied back. He was like, "All right, cool."
Nice.
So we did a show. We were both billed to do a show. And I met him for the first time, and I'm like, yo, I was serious about doing the project. Like, if you're down, he's like, hell yeah, I'm down. Let's get it. And so it was just there's a song on the album called Mutual Respect where it says I can give a fuck about a mutual connect. I only rock with niggas if it's mutual respect, right? And so there was a mutual respect that occurred, just over time talking to him. I think there was a project he was working on, and he was like, yo, this vinyl distributor asked me, was you going to be on the project? And I'm like, yeah,
nice.
And so I think the first day that we got into the studio, we might have did 3 records. And he was like, yo, we should just fucking do a project, bro. And I'm like, yeah.
If it's flowing like that.
Yeah. I came I came with the flip-flops, the basketball, we were coming to work. You know what I mean? Like we're going to be here for a while, and we knocked out at least 2 or 3 records that day. And then probably because of our schedules, probably by the end of 2 weeks, we had about 5 records, and he was like, yo, we should we should do the whole joint, and let's not wait to put it out. Let's just put it out. So that's how that came about.
Yeah, you can't really, like you said, you can't really wait anymore. It's not, I don't know.
For what?
Yeah,
I mean, I part of me does feel like the consumer kind of misses out because there's so much music, and you don't really get a chance. I think time, really dictates how good something is, right? The fact that, I tell my son all the time, I say, Nike drops a sneaker every day. But when Jordans come out, the line is around the block because it's been tested, it's been proven. Time has allowed you to know that this is what you need to have. And so with music, like I said, you have a lot of people that are self-proclaimed whatevers, and before something is even heard, they're saying that it's a classic. But time is going to dictate that, so I feel like there was an experience that was had in the 90s and early 2000s where we lived with a project. We were cool going a year, before the next thing came out, and it became part of our everyday listening. And I feel like it's just so much shit with Spotify, they don't really get a chance to have that experience, you know what I mean? There's some artists that have captured it, like Griselda definitely. They've found a way to make their fans gravitate in that way, but for the most part, it's the music comes out, they rock with it for about a week, and then it's what's the next thing? The fan is missing out on the experience. It'd be shit sounds different after 6 months. Shit sounds different after a year.
People refuse to subscribe to that because they feel like they could digest it in a fucking hour. Come on.
I mean, TikTok is what, 10 seconds or some shit like that. This is the attention span that we're competing for. So the fact that even Kanye with Nasir and the Pusha T dropping these 21-minute projects because the attention span it's so much. There's so much out there competing for your attention, whether it be the music, whether it be sports, whether it be a movie, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Twitter, whether it be TikTok. It's so much competing for your time. And that's before you get to work. That's before you get to working out. That's before you get to. So it's a lot. It's a lot, man.
Nah, it is tough, and I do understand, and you do gotta find new ways. But goddamn, like you said, especially for me being a avid listener and committed and dedicated, I'm still listening not old shit. I'm saying shit that came out 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Still enjoying it. It's not like I'm just holding on. I'm actually still enjoying it.
Yeah.
But with that project though, I want to shout out some of the features you had. You had Shay on there,
Facts.
Shay Noir. You had my guy the Mussolini.
Facts.
You had him on Deck Wit Deme before. Like you said, you had the Spesh, of course.
Yeah.
And then
who else? Planet Asia was on there.
that's who. When I was like, I didn't want to forget.
Yeah,
Shout out to PA, man.
Yeah.
He definitely been supporting the hip hop community.
Nah, PA is actually one of the greatest rappers ever to live, bro.
Definitely, man. I
like,
was
hands
just
down.
having this debate the other day, and he's very consistent as well. And that's another thing too. He puts out a lot of work too. I don't feel like he oversaturates it either.
Yeah, I think he has found. I mean, from Cali Agents, like he's found a way
That's
to
a long time coming.
like to find. He's found his niche, man. Like this whole thing right now is about finding. Like I try to make projects that go from, as a full circle, as a full arc. But some people, like, they find their niche and they just feed that niche. So their songs and they found their audience and they feed them, And so he's been able to do that. There's a few other artists that have been able to do that. And, I just come from my appreciation for music where I just want to do shit that sounds like like the projects that we just talked about. So First Brick doesn't sound anything like Ways and Means. Ways and Means doesn't sound anything sonically like Sinners and Saints. Sinners and Saints doesn't sound anything like 15 Minutes in Queens. Nope. And it's just like, I'm a fan of that shit. Like, to me, that's dope. Instead of making,
definitely.
20 songs that's all the same tempo and, the same vibe. Like, I'm not really on that.
It's a tough listen at times, like when that's the swag. Even if whatever type of tempo, if it's like you said, if it's 20 of those, that's
it's the same shit. The concept doesn't change.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
The inflection of the rapper's voice doesn't change, but they found their audience wants that, which is cool. You know what I mean? I just like to, do things a little bit different.
Nah, that's what it's about, man. That's what you're here for on Deck Wit Deme. Let them know how you get down.
Deme D.
So, before we close it out, though, man, you mentioned the concept. I did want to mention this earlier. The Blue Hood, man.
Oh, yeah.
We had to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
That's a fucking dope concept. I mean, is that something you've had on talk? Did you just come up with it when you heard the beat? Because I know you just... For another thing, you're just knocking out tracks left and right in all these sessions. So
I feel like I have, like... For the past couple years, it's just been like a renewed sense of, like, fire. Like, you know what I mean? Just like, I really love this shit. There's nothing else I want to do. And I remember, like, I think Blue Hood might have been the last song that we did for the project because when I heard the track, I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't want to rush it. So we were recording a couple songs around that, and when I finally knew where I wanted to go, I sat down one afternoon in the crib and I just wrote it. And I remember going to the studio that night, and Buck, like, heard my first take of it. And he came to the where the recording booth. He was like, bro, like I recorded. I got a story to tell. I know these type of records. He was like, if you execute this properly, bro, like this could be one of those records for you. And
definitely was, man. If y'all ain't up on that, the Blue Hood from Sinners and Saints, produced entirely by Buckwild, but that. I mean, you got a lot of tracks like that, but I just felt, just the content for that one, especially in the climate.
Yeah. I mean, our whole experience on this continent that's been the climate. But
so we could definitely get into that.
I don't even listen to that record. Like, that shit is spooky.
Yeah, I won't say it's spooky, but it's intense.
Yeah, I don't listen to
I could imagine, especially recording it. But before I let you go, though, man, I'm just hit you with a couple of hip hop questions. Right. I want to know, and I know the audience wants to know. First thoughts. If I say just two rap songs, this is all hip hop, of course.
Right.
2 songs you love, never get tired of, artists in the track. You can give me 3 if it's too tough.
P-Rock, Sail Smooth, Reminisce Over You.
That's greatness, of course.
Hey Young World by Slick Rick.
Oh, okay.
What's Going On by Rakim.
I was just listening to some Rakim on the way over here, man. So y'all heard it first. He's definitely tuned in with the hip hop world with those songs right there. And the next thing, give me 2 albums. You don't care who has what to say, who says what. how they feel about it. These are 2 albums you love and have to be a part of your category. Not on some old top 10 best all-time shit. Like, you know, like 2 shits you love and you could care less. Like, so,
just to, it was written.
Yeah, a lot of backlash with that, depending on who you talk to.
I think it's better than Illmatic.
Yeah.
As an album.
Definitely.
I think the Roots, Do You Want More? That album actually changed my whole everything.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
It changed everything because I thought that coming from where I come from, you know, it's a hard environment. So here's this guy rapping at a fucking high level,
killing it,
but he's doing it just a little bit different. It's not solely street shit. And I was just like, wow, like you could rap like that and still be dope and use live instruments, and he's got a fucking band. And like, so the Roots album, Do You Want More? I mean, because I listen to a lot of shit other than rap, so it's
yeah, that's why I try to, because I know that's a whole nother combo.
Like, but I think.
I mean, you could give him a non-rap one. It's exclusive just for y'all today.
A non-rap.
Yeah,
like if you listen to like Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
Oh well,
that's almost like a rap.
We're talking about real greatness now. Like,
yeah, but that's
no offense.
Just the shit that my parents would play.
Of course.
So it's like the New Edition Heartbreak album.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean. But these are the things that influence that you take. I do anyway, and then incorporate to your approach on the music. That's how I always looked at it. Like, yes, I'm supposed to take from Grover Washington Jr. Yes, I'm supposed to take from fucking Entombed. Yes, I'm supposed to take from fucking Gloria Estefan. Like all this shit.
Well, unfortunately, you know, some of these people, they.
No, fortunately, because that means my shit is different. So
Okay.
Fortunately,
because to me, everybody and a lot of other people out there, we know the greatness. Especially shout out to naming fucking Gloria Estefan. Yeah, he's talking about J-Lo and all this shit.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to Gloria.
Facts. Her and her husband, man, they did something. They had a sound that man. Yeah, man. It
was a movement.
Facts.
Facts. It was a fucking. It was. Listen, I'm not even gonna get off track. That whole shit was
fucking Gloria Estefan.
Yeah, that whole shit was crazy. Like that. When you talk about presentation.
Yes.
And not that the music wasn't good, and the music was good
too. The whole way they gave it to you felt like it was Miami.
It was if you didn't know, Miami Sound Machine was for real.
Yeah, like okay, this is what it feels like, and to me that's the sound. To me, that's a sign of great music. Like, I knew what Queensbridge smelled like listening to Illmatic, right? I had never been there, but you kind of like, oh shit, this is what Queensbridge is like. When you listen to fucking, you know, Onyx, like, oh, that's what Southside Jamaica must look like. You know what I mean? So it's like when music puts you in that place where you can listen to the shit. Niggas have never been to Jamaica, but they listen to Peter Tosh. They listen to Bob Marley, and they're like, okay, this is what Jamaica must feel like.
That frame. And that's part of, you know, like you said, capturing the music and speaking to the audience. So last question, man.
Okay.
When you were touring, what was the city? Mm-hmm. I'm only going to give you one. Okay. What was the city you was like, oh, I can't wait to fucking come back here?
Bern, Switzerland.
Bern, Switzerland?
Bern, Switzerland.
Yeah, I know overseas is just a different...
Bern, Switzerland.
Well, shout out to Switzerland, man.
Shout out to Bern.
Word up. Keep supporting the kid. Y'all guys got to tune in. 15 minutes in Queens. Rasheed Chappell, thank you for coming
Appreciate
through.
You.
Definitely a great artist and contribution to the game. We loving it, yo. DagogetaTv on Deck Wit Deme.